taking that same kind of way to frame things. The concern isn't really black people per se, it's the criminal behavior.
Right.
And it seems like they framed it that way, but was there any public comment on that or on the interracial aspect of this, or was it just sort of a conspiracy of silence in response to all this?
Oh, yeah, good question.
All of that.
The community supported what happened. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Nathan was able to recruit his neighbors. They were able to kidnap him and bring him home. And then 4 nights later, by design, it had to have been by design because 40 people rode together at 2 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday evening. There was community support for what happened. He was seen as a predator, that he had taken advantage of a young lady who did not know her way, and was punished because of that. The crowd afterwards, there was no spectators at the time, but the cemetery filled quickly with people who wanted to see what had happened. There was an autopsy and there was a coroner's inquest, and no one was ever charged or found culpable for what happened. So I think all of that, I found one letter to the editor in the Richmond Times-Dispatch from a man who was upset about the incident, and he was upset about it, as you might expect, because it cast negative light on Warrenton. It was not, he didn't object that a father, a brother, a son, a husband, and a man had been murdered. What he objected to was that the mob had made what he believed to be a law-abiding Warrenton look bad.
So I have a question. Well, just to say that, you know, I appreciate the fact that you attribute our keeping you at it to get this actually done. I think you were, you know, so excited about lynchings that there was no stopping you. But
I wonder if I was a witness to one of these in a prior life. I don't know where my interest comes from.
But just sort of 2 questions. One is, do they happen anywhere else in the world?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah?
It's not only an American phenomenon.
Okay. I can't just blame America for that.
We're really good at it, though.
Yeah. And is it always for, like, I've only heard of people being lynched because they made a black man made a pass at a white woman. Is that the majority of?
No. 1/3 of all lynchings, I'm talking about racial terror lynchings in the southern states. Remember, lynching occurred out west. 1/3 of all the racial terror lynchings, about 4,000 people were killed, about 1 person a week for 50 years. That's an astounding number when you think about it. A black man, woman, or child was lynched once a week for 50 years, from 1880 to 1930. These are in the 10 states of the old Confederacy. 1/3 of them were accused of murder, and 1/3 of them were accused of inappropriate contact with a woman. The other third could have been anything. After World War I, if a black soldier who had served in France returned to some southern towns and wore his uniform, he violated their laws and died. There are several lynchings of veterans who were killed because they wore their uniforms. Yes, ma'am.
So did the lynching start after Reconstruction had kind of, was there a tie-in with lynching and Reconstruction? And then you said at 1830, what happened then to kind of put the kibosh on it?
1880 to 1930.
Okay,
are
1930,
considered
yeah.
the sort of the lynching years. But Rushdie, a man named Rushdie, has done 2 books that I think are really landmark books. And he pushes, Dr. DeFazio at James Madison, of course, is the keeper of the records for Virginia. He would be embarrassed for me to say that to him. But that's exactly what he's created and done a masterful job of documenting Virginia lynchings. But lynchings throughout, they go back to the earliest days of our country. It is our original sin. It is our time on the cross. We carried it to unbelievable lengths, all in the name of white supremacy. Yes, sir.
Me.
Oh, you were just saying time to leave. I'm sorry. She was going to give me the sign.
I was just going to comment to bring this really sad story to the present day. A really fabulous, yet also sad book is The New Jim Crow. I'm sure, I mean, it's not a new book. It's been out 10 years, but it's about mass incarceration,
Okay.
but racism is at the bottom of it. And it's going on, obviously, majorly to the present day.
Byron Stevenson brings his narrative to the present day through mass incarceration. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, during that time, was it illegal for a white man and a Native American woman further west to be together?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because when you were saying they went up into Maryland, I was hoping that they were going west.
Yes. Or farther north.
Yeah.
Yes, Ohio, wherever. Some of the states were more forgiving, yeah.
In India, it's a tradition for the in-laws to own lock, stock, and barrel the bride. They own the bride. They can do anything they want to with the bride and kill them, and nothing would happen to them. Now, this is a tradition. This is not today, but there are some villages where that still happens. If the daughter of in any case, that pretty much says what I need to say.
I agree. Don't forget that Elvira was 25 years old. That apparently meant nothing to her family. An editorial in a Louisiana, New Orleans newspaper pointed that out. She's an adult. She's capable of making her own decisions. It meant absolutely nothing to her family.
Hello.
Hello.
Genealogy pays off. Back to your question on the white Indian marriage. My third great-grandfather was on a wagon train from Vermont to Oregon. He married a young Clatsop Indian woman, and she's my third great-grandmother. Also, family research, my dearly departed husband's distant uncle was the first mayor of El Paso, Texas, and he married an Indian woman as well. I have a quick anecdote about this. I never in 100 years thought I'd walk in and hear the word Hume, Virginia. I'm going there next week. But it's because someone who had been a slave is luring us there. A friend of mine, her maybe second or third great-grandfather was a slave at the Stribling Orchard, which is about, 10 miles or less from Hume.
Yes.
That orchard is still in the same family that
Yes.
it was way back then. There's still a building from way back when, and she's very excited to go there. That man's grandson gave an oral history video that's on the net somewhere, and I'm so sorry I don't know his name, but a flip side of Hume.
Yes. Hume is truly a crossroads. There's
All
nothing
right.
else there.
Thank you so much, Jim. That was awesome. It's astounding to me that a group of people, a mob, took over a government seat to try and exfiltrate this person. So this mob comes and takes over a government office, and there's just really no consequences. And that would never happen today. I'm so glad. So glad. All right, I know we have a couple of announcements. I know my lovely wife would like to make one.
Don't know about lovely. I hope you've enjoyed the art displays that we've got going on the walls, either the foyer and down these hallways. We'd like to swap those out, and what we'd like to do next is kids art. We love kids art, and so we're asking you to bring it in. We'd like to make that switch 1st of September. So if you have art by your kids that you would like to bring in and have displayed, we would love to borrow it from you. One caveat, it needs to be hangable. Refrigerator magnets will not work on those walls, sorry. So put it in a frame or just affix something to the back of it, however you want to make it hangable so that we can display it. And then I guess, let's see, Marcia, when we pick it up from them, let's write down what their name is and what the kid's name is, and we'll display all that info with it. I think that will be a fun thing.
Wonderful. Somebody was going to make an announcement about the Gleaning Project. Okay. While you're coming up, I just want to make a quick announcement that Wednesday night starts back up the adult choir and the handbell choir. Handbell's at 6, adult choir at 7. So I know Catherine would love to have you. Tell us about Gleaning.
All right, thanks. So a quick note here. Kurt Swinburne, Community Action and Justice. Good morning. I have this on my phone. Okay, so the fellowship is signed up to participate in the Gleaning Project on September 21st. The Gleaning is run by the Healthy Harvest Food Bank Agricultural Program. Local farmers and their families have opened up their fields after they have been harvested so that volunteers can glean the produce that is left. And there's usually quite a bit. This is a great way to help others by picking produce that goes to those in need in our community, and we have a great time in the outdoors on Working Farm in Westmoreland. We gather at, I actually should gather before 8 a.m., probably like 7:30 to 7:45. It's a little early, but it avoids the heat. And we finish around noon, usually before that. And instructions, tools, and water are provided. Please contact me, Kurt Swinburne. There's also a note on the back in the Community Action Board that describes all of this and contact information. But we have a great time doing it. It's been a great project. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. All right. We're going to enter a time of sharing, and I'm going to invite you to share in a couple of different ways. First way is if you enjoy and you benefit from the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fredericksburg, then I want to encourage you to help us. I want to encourage you to help us by giving your financial dollars. There's an offering plate at the very back of the auditorium here. In just a moment, I'm going to be playing some soft music, and so when that happens, I'm going to invite you to go and give generously to help us continue on to be a light in this neighborhood. Perhaps you have a joy or a concern. We have a tradition here where we share joys and concerns by using rocks as a token of our joy or concern, and we place it in the water as just a symbol of what we're carrying in our hearts. If you would like to do that when I play my music here in just a minute, I invite you to come forward and do that. Lastly, if you have a serious concern that you want to speak with someone about right now, I'm going to ask any of our pastoral care team to come on up to our pastoral care circle over here. I'll also be available right after the service. I'd be delighted to speak with you. But during this music, if you would like to share in any of those ways, either through the offering, through the pebbles, or through the pastoral care circle, I invite you to do that now. So if you're able, would you stand with me? If you're not moving at all, then you can just have a time of quiet reflection while we give everybody else a chance to respond. Thank you. right, I invite you wherever you're at with us to have our closing words. If you would stand with us if you're able. And Kristen, if you could come for our closing words. We extinguish our chalice. Would you read together with us, please? If we could have your attention just real quick, if we could have your attention.
Wherever you are, I invite you to grab someone's hand and let us say closing words. May we see all as it is, and may it all be as we see it. May we be the ones to make it as it should be. For if not us, who? And if not now, when? This is the answering the cry of justice with the work of peace. This is redeeming the pain of history with the grace of wisdom. This is the work we are called to do. This is what we'll answer now. To be the bridge of the bridge, to be the living embodiment of our principles, and to be able to work of building the beloved community, and to be the person and people of conscience.